Okay, hi Miss Millhouse. This is my three-dimensional solar system project. I used a black foam poster board as the background. I used modeling foam to make the planets. I used paper to make Saturn's rings and aluminum foil to stick into the planet and help support the rings all around it. I used a needle to help support the Earth's moon right there. And then I used gravel for the asteroid belt. I used hot glue on the backs of all of these to help hold them into place, and I used note cards and Sharpies for my labels. That concludes my process pretty much. So yeah, we can proceed with our facts. We have our little list here of facts, and we can start with the sun. And the sun is almost a perfect sphere. It accounts for 99.86% of the mass in the solar system, and it's the surface area of the sun is 11,990 times. 11,990 times the surface area of, it's larger than the Earth's surface area by 11,990 times. I could have said that so much better, I'm sorry. And then we can move on to Mercury. Mercury is the smallest planet in the solar system. That's not my fact, I promise. Your weight on Mercury would actually be about 30% of your weight on the Earth. A year on Mercury is shorter than a day, which kind of messes with my head a lot. It shouldn't be, but it is anyways. And Mercury is the second densest planet. It's only second densest to the Earth, which makes sense because the Earth is the largest of the terrestrial planets. But I feel like Venus, I feel like Venus should be the second densest, but it's not. It's Mercury. Despite Mercury being, the smallest in the entire solar system. So there's that. And then we can move on to Venus. Venus is hotter than Mercury despite being farther away from the sun. It has 90 times the atmospheric pressure of Earth. And it's the second brightest natural object in the sky, only second to the moon, which I think is quite interesting considering it's very far away. And it's not even a star, too. Most people are oh, the stars are the brightest ones. And I personally wouldn't even be able to differentiate the difference between Venus and a star. But, a bunch of smart people did and discovered that it was brighter. It was the brightest object in the sky aside from the moon. And that is great for them. And then we have the Earth. It's the only known planet to have an atmosphere containing free oxygen. It's the only known planet to have oceans of water on its surface, and it's the only known planet, as of right now, that is able to support life. And with that, we have the Earth's moon, which is right there. It's the only permanent natural satellite of the Earth, and it's actually my second fact is that it's actually floating away from the Earth. And it always, but based off of its rotation and revolution, it always shows us the same face. That's why we have a dark side of the moon, I guess. And then we can move on to Mars. Mars is red because of the oxidation of the iron in the planet. It's home to the tallest mountain in the solar system, which is blows my mind a little bit because I feel I don't know, these aren't terrestrial planets, but I feel even though I knew that these weren't terrestrial planets, I just, you just think naturally, bigger planet, bigger things. Oh, and there's my cat. Hello, cat. She's just coming to watch. And then it has Mars. My third fact for Mars is that it also has the largest dust storms in the solar system. And I thought that would also be one of the gas giants because, Jupiter has its Great Red Spot, which is on the bottom of this, and I will show you that in a second when I tell you that how they're actually fully spherical instead of half spheres. But I thought it would be I thought Mars's dust storms would be the big storms and the gas giants, and I thought that the gas giants would have larger storms, but I guess because they're gas, it's not dust, so I don't know. And then we have the asteroid belt right here, which is made out of gravel. Hello. It's made out of gravel, at least for me, but for the actual asteroid belt, it not only contains real asteroids, but it obviously contains real asteroids. Come on, Kate. But it contains dwarf planets as well, and I did not know that. I actually thought that Pluto was only the only dwarf planet in our solar system, but I was wrong. There are more in the asteroid belt. And some of the asteroids that we know are actually trash piles made of space debris and rubble. And we only know of at least 7,000 asteroids, and that shocked me a lot because I thought there would be more. or that we would know of more. But I guess it makes a lot of sense because some of them are only the size of a pebble. Some of them are actually only this big in real life, which is freaky. But I guess that's due to the collisions and how they keep hitting each other and breaking up, and that makes a lot of sense, but I'd never thought to think about it. And then we have Jupiter. It's the largest planet in the solar system. It is, Jupiter cannot become a star. A lot of people, that ties into the fact of how a lot of people think that Jupiter is a failed star, but it can never turn into one to begin with, so it's not a failed star. And it has a magnetic field that is 14 times stronger than the Earth. And it also has a great red spot, which is, great red spot. It is, if you can see it, it is right there. I don't know how you could, but it's right there. Ma'am, I need you to move. Okay. So that's Jupiter. And then we have Saturn. And Saturn, it's the most distant planet that can be seen with the naked eye. It's the flattest planet, actually. So like axis to axis, it's like compressed. And Saturn would float in water because it's mostly made of gas. And then its rings, there are like 3 rings, and I thought there were way more than 3 rings, but there are 3 rings. And these 3 rings are about as thin as 10 sheets of paper. I thought that was quite interesting as well. And they're mostly made up of like dust particles and all that. And they're made up of some ice as well, so that's cool. So the rings are as thin as paper, they're made up of dust particles, or as thin as 10 sheets of paper, and they're made up of dust particles. Oh, and goodness. And what else? And they orbit and their orbital patterns, they can actually, like, they keep some of Saturn's moons in check, because of their orbital patterns. So yeah, there's that. And then we have Uranus, and Uranus is an ice giant, which is interesting, and it orbits the sun on its side. So like instead of it orbiting this way, it orbits from like this way, which I think is very interesting. It was the first planet to be discovered in the modern age. Its blue color is attributed to the large percentage of methane gas in its atmosphere, and funnily enough, methane gas is what makes rotten eggs smell like rotten eggs, or what makes farts smell like farts. So Uranus smells like rotten eggs and farts, and that's quite funny. And now we have Neptune, our final planet. It has roughly the same percentage of methane gas in its atmosphere, but for some reason it's a darker shade of blue. It was the first and only planet so far to be discovered by math that is within our solar system. First and only planet in our solar system to be discovered by math. And it has the strangest weather patterns in the solar system, which is funny because it's the farthest away from the sun, and it has a really slow orbital pattern and time period. But it has really high speed winds and like huge storms. So yeah, that is it for my presentation. I'm so sorry that my kitty came in and disturbed part of it, but she's just as interested in it as I am. So yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.